Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Teenage Christianity. I'm your host, Jace Carpenter, and this is episode 13. If you listened last week to episode 12, we talked all about prepping your mindset and your spirit for a brand new season, clearing out the distractions and setting a true intention to grow. But today, we're hitting episode 13, and we need to talk about what happens after the fresh start. Because it's incredibly easy to feel motivated right after an inspiring event, a great weekend church service, or a powerful conference, or day one of a new calendar month. Your energy is high, your vision is clear, and you feel like you can conquer the world. But then Tuesday happens. The alarm goes off, the routine sets in, the ordinarily daily chores pile up, and suddenly, the fiery motivation starts to feel pretty lukewarm. The big idea we're unpacking today is the real challenge of growth isn't starting well. It's keeping that positive momentum alive when ordinary daily life gets boring, repetitive, or stressful. So, how do we sustain the fire when the initial spark is gone? We're going to dive into three core principles backed by scripture to help you build a faith and a focus that lasts long after the feelings fade. Let's get into it. Our first point today is recognizing and accepting the emotional fade. Here's a truth we have to reconcile with. High energy motivation is a temporary emotion. And guess what? That's completely normal. There's nothing wrong with you if you woke up today lacking the burning passion you had last week. Emotions are like weather, they change constantly. But too often, when the emotions fade happens, we take it as a sign that we failed or that we've lost our way spiritually. We think, well, I don't feel on fire today, so I guess I'll just skip my quiet time and try again when I'm inspired. The Apostle Paul knew exactly what this felt like. In Galatians 6:9, he writes a command that completely exposes this human struggle. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Paul wouldn't have written, let us not become weary, if weariness wasn't an absolute guarantee. He knew that the gap between planting a seed and reaping a harvest is filled with a lot of mundane, tiring, repetitive days. The good we are doing, whether that's studying, serving, working, or praying, starts to feel heavy when the emotion fades. But the promise isn't for those who stay emotional. The promise is for those who don't give up. Weariness is normal, but it isn't an excuse to stop walking. So if we can't rely on our emotion to carry us through the weariness, what do we rely on? This is shift number 2: systems over feelings. To sustain momentum, you have to rely on daily habits. Things like consistent scripture reading, intentional quiet time, or regular check ins, rather than waiting until you magically feel like doing it. If you only ever pray or work towards your goals on the days you feel inspired, then you're letting your mood run your life. We need a spiritual operating system, and there's no better biblical example of this than the prophet Daniel. In Daniel 6, a royal decree was signed stating that anyone who prayed to any god or human except the king would be thrown into the lion's den. It was a high stress, terrifying situation. Daniel could have easily let his fear or his feelings dictate his actions. But look at what Daniel 6:10 says. 3 times a day he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had done before. Daniel didn't need to summon a massive wave of emotional courage that morning. He didn't have to wait for an inspiring feeling. He simply executed his system. He had a set time, a set place, and a set habit that he performed 3 times a day: rain, shine, peace, or lion's den. When your daily spiritual and mental routines become as non negotiable as brushing your teeth, you protect your momentum from your moods. Your habits carry on the days that your feelings can't. Now, building a system is vital, but nobody is meant to run their system completely alone. That brings us to our third point: an accountability network. When the initial excitement wears off and the routine gets heavy, the enemy loves to isolate us. We pull back, we stop checking in, and we quietly let our habits slide because nobody's watching. To prevent that, you have to stay close to friends who share your values and can't keep you grounded. You need people who love you enough to ask the hard question. Hey, did you spend your time in the Word today? Or, how are you handling that stress that we talked about last week? King Solomon perfectly captures the mechanics of this in Ecclesiastes 4, verses 9 through 10. Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up, but pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Notice it doesn't say if they fall, it says when either of them falls. In the middle of a long, boring, or stressful season, you will stumble. Your momentum will drop, and in those moments, a solo plan fails. You don't need a crowd, you just need a few solid, faith filled friends who are running in the same direction when your emotional battery hits zero. Their presence and their encouragement will help you pull back up onto your feet. As we wrap up today's episode, let's tie this all down to something you can actually do today. We're not going to look at the next 6 months, we're going to look at the next 24 hours. So here's a good step for you to take this week. I want you to pick up one tiny 5-minute habit to commit to every single day this week, entirely regardless of how tired or unmotivated you feel. It needs to be so small that it's virtually impossible to fail. Maybe it's reading just one chapter of scripture before you check your phone in the morning. Maybe it's spending 5 minutes sitting in absolute silence, praying or handling your daily stresses over to God. Maybe it's a 5-minute journal entry at night to track what you're grateful for. Try to build a relationship with God. Do it because your walk depends on your continuous progress. It's just like riding a bicycle. If you keep pedaling forward, you're going to reach your destination. But if you stop and become stagnant, you'll fall over because you don't have the balance that comes with movement. The harvest is coming, but it belongs to those who keep walking through the ordinary, mundane days. Thank you so much for joining me today. This has been Teenage Christianity. Remember, if you have any questions or feedback, then you can comment or email me at bjc@gmail.com. Have an incredible and consistent week, and I'll see you right back here for episode 14.